allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amendment of meeting agenda items.
Yes, I would like to add an 8.5 OSWA reclassification report by Mr. Zizet. That's it.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda with the amendment addition.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approval of minutes.
I approve that we approve the minutes from February 27th as presented.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Correspondence?
I have none, Madam Chair.
Public comment? Reports, science night.
Pleased to introduce Kelly Grindle, 4th grade teacher. I went there and looked a little bit at their science night. Carol's not here with us this evening, but Kelly's taking the lead on it. So Kelly, welcome.
PowerPoint.
You want me to point?
Sure, you wanna
I'll hold it,
be my Vanna? All right. So, I'm Kelly Grindle. I teach 4th grade at ADA Hay. This is my 4th year teaching here. And I went to Malheur Summer Institute this summer and got the chance to see David Hale. And he has written several books and worked at OMSI and hosted Newton's Apple for 10 years. And so now he goes around and does these science nights and gets them started at different schools and stuff. And I just enjoyed it so much, I bought both of his books, Family Science Night and Family Engineering. And I thought this would be a great thing for us to do at our school, to bring families together, to give kids other things to do besides just sports, and activities to get parents and kids working together in science. And then our Family Science Night consists of several different warm-up activities. So the pictures show that they just kind of, I have them all set up around my room, and they just kind of float around and try all the activities for 20-30 minutes, sometimes a little longer. That was the one request I got, was to have a little longer to try those. And then we do a main activity at the end of the night where they have to build something as a family. Sometimes there's parameters where they have to hold one hand around their back and work together, or they can't use their voices, they can only use their bodies, and different things like that, kind of fun. So far we've made a tower, rubber band balls. So this month we're going to do windmills. Next month we're doing, what was it? I can't even find it now. We're going to do windmills, we're going to do jiggle bots, and then catapults. And then we've usually had 6 to 8 families every night. This last one was a little less, just because I think it had snowed that day and everybody went, am I going out with snow?
Yeah.
I try to do it the last Wednesday of each month from 5:30 to 7. It's in my classroom at ADA Hay. And I'd like to invite you guys to come join us one of these nights. I want to thank Carol Ramsey for volunteering to help me, Susan Warren and Will Cahill for allowing me to do this and finding money to help fund this. And I wanted to thank you, the board, for this wonderful opportunity, for helping fund this great opportunity for our families. I hope you guys can make it some night. So,
Even for a snow night, it looks like you've got a lot of
yeah.
people there.
It was pretty, the first night it was so full in there, I didn't know if I was going to have enough seats in my classroom.
That's awesome.
And then the second time we did it was pretty full, and this last time we had a little bit more room, but you just never know with activities going on and stuff. Any questions, or?
No, and I think thanks goes to you for doing it. That's really, keeps them engaged.
Good job, Kelly.
Thank you very much.
What time was that again?
5:30 to 7. It'll be the last Wednesday before spring break this month. So if you guys want to join me then, that'd be great.
Is that next Wednesday?
That would be next Wednesday, yes.
Oh, man.
By the way, Vanna has a much tougher job than we realize.
You were starting to shake a little bit there, I saw. that called? Okay, classified employee appreciation.
Well, we're just, the purpose of this agenda item was just to kind of give you a briefing as far as what we did for the classified employees last week. I'll let Rusty and Susan report for each of their buildings. What we did down here, wonderful staff here put together nice little gift bags with kind of a four-leaf clover, wish them luck, and a high five candy bar, and, or no, take five, sorry. Anyway, correct myself on that one. How could I dare get that wrong? It's on the record now, take five.
Take
Okay,
five,
very
yep.
good. Okay, all right. And they were down here behind the scenes, and I was the delivery guy. I delivered the gift bag to every classified employee in the school district, so I think it was much appreciated. And we appreciate them, and you know, fairly good week from that end. Rusty, you want to talk about what the high school did?
Sure. Throughout the week, they had different things going on. Our DMS students had Italian sodas for the classified staff in the teachers' lounge one day. And some community members even brought in some grapes and chips for them. The high school, we had a lunch in their honor on Friday, and all of us joined that. And then also our ASB group, they gave them goodie bags and wrote them positive messages, right?
And then, on the, every day of the week, they gave them a day or something.
Yeah, so they had something each day of the week from our ASB kids. And we honored them and recognized them at our recognition assembly on Friday.
We had a variety of things that happened. It was something every day, trying to find one thing or a couple things each day. So between Union, Fremont, and Hay, there were all kinds of things going on. There were flowers to the teachers. There were goodies every day in the staff room. They made posters. Kelly was instrumental in making all the posters for Hay, and they had some great themes throughout the building. There were butcher paper posters all over. The kids made thank you cards and signed them for the staff. The Parents Club purchased and donated a Keurig machine to each staff room, and we did coffee creamers and all kinds of fun coffees, teas, and hot chocolates for the staff. And it was a little bit chilly in the beginning of the week, so we took duties for them as well, so that they could go in and relax a little bit and take five.
Anyway, I think our folks were appreciated, and it was a very nice week.
Thank you. Legislative report.
Well, kind of the two big things to sell them right now are, you know, what they're going to agree on as far as a budget amount. The second thing that's really, you know, gaining lots and lots of conversation is the PERS debate as far as where PERS is going to go. They've thrown out a lot of things on PERS, like discussing, you know, basically the final retirement rate is based on the last three highest years of service. One thing they're bantering around is making that 5 years of service. So that would bring the rate down. Say if you were a teacher for a couple of years and you jumped into administration, you go in this 5 years, and that would bring that rate down compared to those last 3 years of administration, just as an example. Some other things I think they're doing to PERS is, you know, they're looking at a lot of tier 1 is kind of the heaviest hit thing, and the big thing in it is, I think the one thing they're campaigning for is to try to remove the sick leave that all the tier 1 employees have accrued in that to go towards that retirement bottom line as well. So I think the big news of all is basically related to tier 1 employees. Past history on the PERS thing is they've passed a number of reforms. Really, the only one that they've really made stick is you know, the interest rate on the fixed at 8%. You know, if they managed to get that ratchet down over 2 years to 7.75, then now it's at 7.5, and it's going into 7.25. However, you look at the history of the reforms that the legislature has passed related to PERS. You know, they've taken it to usually the labor unions and OEA and everything are in concert. Usually take the Oregon Supreme Court, and I say the vast majority of the time, Oregon Supreme Court has struck those things down. So I guess keep watching and listening, more to come, and I think it's probably one of the biggest contested debates now that's going on in Salem as far as the first thing. Now let's talk budget for a minute. there's quite a range on the budget. You know, I reported to you some time ago, the governor said 8.06 was her amount. The thing we're hearing today, and feel free to chime in if you want to, is the legislature is proposing 7.8. 7.8 is a bit of a catastrophic number for this district. If it goes into 7.8, it's, you know, we're looking at probably some possible employee cuts and just cuts across the board, so it's going to be pretty catastrophic and devastating. The 8.0, I don't know if you weigh in on that.
Well, back to the 7.8, the reason why it's gonna affect, people, is because of the PERS rates. The PERS rates increase,
Yeah.
in this biennium hugely, costing our district about 300 and some thousand. So there's that working against us. The other thing that worked against us, in 17-18 is we don't, our ADM numbers are a little bit lower. Now, that's not the huge piece of it. The huge piece of it is that PERS, but it affects it both ways. So, right now, it's just a hope, I guess, that they'll figure that out quickly. We sent some talking points with Bob Nash and Dave Kerr from North Lake to speak on our behalf today and this afternoon.
They met with the senators, they met with the representatives, legislative day. Jen and I did work on talking points for Bob to share with those legislators. I have a meeting with Werner Reschke on Friday the 24th, so I get to sit down and discuss the whole thing with him. I will try to get a meeting with Senator Withicum at some point too.
But the only relief we would get is if they increase the budget, because the PERS legislation
That's
is gonna.
exactly right.
That piece is done.
Right,
Yeah.
they're not
That
gonna,
piece is done, set in
cause they'll
stone.
get sued and they'll go to court, so.
And the piece that he's talking about is more so on the retiring end of
Right.
things. My piece of it has already been set.
Here.
The percentages for tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 people. We have a good large number of tier 1 people, and the tier 3 went up drastically. And keep in mind, we pay 100% of those PERS rates. So even the pickup, the 6% and their percentage. So we pay that 100%. There's nothing coming out of employees' pocket for that. So that piece is gonna, and that's just keeping everybody intact right now. 300, a little over 300,000, just right there. And then we had enough of a decrease, in the ADM that you could see it there. Of course, not as drastic, but
Yeah.
And that's at 7.8.
at 7.8.
The magic number to basically hold everything harmless according to OSBA and COSA is 8.4. Whether or not they're getting any traction towards 8.4, I don't know. I think it's going to be a very long legislative session. As far as giving us, kind of an ending number to budget on, I keep hearing the talk of July.
Well, and what they're suggesting, I've already got the estimates for the 7.8. I just got those last week, so their final won't be until, they're saying July. Who knows at this point, but we have to start somewhere.
Well, we did the first
Unfortunately,
time that
here's,
we go through all of that, and then they say, oh, we got this
They
in
do both.
July, and they give you more, and we have.
They're putting it's already out. We haven't published one yet, or put one out, but they're developing one of those posters like from, how many were on the board the last time? They had, thank you, there you go, put your hands up. I feel like I'm teaching class tonight, there you go. They have a graph
Each
that
funding
shows
level.
each funding level and what's at stake. And we're gonna get some of those out, and they've done that again. It's a pretty handy thing as far as what the budget levels combine school districts. So, anyway. Now, this little sheet, I'll try to quickly go through it. House Bill 2856 is basically in concert with BULLY, Bureau of Labor and Industries, to educate employees of their rights and provide technical assistance. The bill also, let me read this here, creates punitive measures including penalties for employers who are non-compliant on these past laws, such as sick time and wage theft. As far as OSBA, they strongly oppose this bill, and that's that's where it's at right now. So a lot of this one I'm gonna be discussing with you is pretty vague, because it's still going through the paces in the legislature right now, so. TAG has always been an unfunded mandate. They have put a bill forward to, kick some money into TAG, 2419, anywhere from $250 to $300 per ADM, or the size of the TAG program will come out of the state school fund. So we'll see where that heads to. And that's the news on that. 828, interesting bill. Basically, it flexes things for employees who have hardship cases, such as, I'm going to read this here, restructuring their work hours. The employer would be required to grant the employee's scheduling request if based on serious health condition of the employee's caregiving responsibilities for a family member, additional employment commitment of the employee. So basically, it gives the flexibility to the employee to try to negotiate or work something with their employer to set their work hours based on a particular hardship related to them. And that's the beginning talking phases on that. Questions so far? Next page, the back of the page, I like this one. Statewide FFA support and funding. Kind of the long and the short of that bill is, when you go to National FFA Convention, you go to State FFA Convention, there's a chapter or school district, you pay registration fees on the students to attend those events. This bill provides funding to help pay those registrations for FFA members to attend those events. It also, what it does, it sets up grants for incentive programs to support public school agriculture and science programs. And a program for funding extended duty contracts, I would guess this is ag teacher contracts, for personnel to manage agricultural programs during the summer. So that kicks a little bit of money into ag teacher summer contracts. Now, here's the catch. It says it's only going to be established by ballot measure 98, and we all know about ballot measure 98. We'll get into that now. When it was passed in November, basically it's an unfunded mandate, because you're basically, yes, it's great, $800 per ADM at the high school, but they didn't set up a separate source of funding for that. So basically what the deal is, you're robbing Peter to pay Paul concept. You got to find that $800, so it's got to come out of someplace else. So right now, Measure 98 is in a huge amount of debate and sale, as well as the $800 recently, what I've heard, has been reduced to $400. So more to come on that as well. Okay, we're just moving right through these. So House Bill 2203, this is the marijuana bill. It redistributes the revenue from the sale of marijuana. Initially, the intent of the bill was to remove 40% of the marijuana revenue from education. That's how it started. Now, currently, right now, it's on the floor, it's being debated, in committee, still being debated. They've amended it to put the 40% back in again. So, there's a lot of things here in progress. So that's what's going on with that. The student safety bill, I like it. It's basically to deal with all things involving, active shooters and handling of threats to schools, staff, and students. The threat assessment program would be set up in the Department of Education and include programs and training requirements for schools. Now, what that looks like, I don't know, but once again, it's another bill that's just getting off the ground. Senate Bill 481. The bill defines a process for public bodies to follow completing public records requests. Some time ago when I brought you policies, there was something we did, as far as updating the public's ability to acquire public records and the process to go to fill out the paperwork to get the public records, the timeline to wait for them, and everything else. I think they're taking that and they're, once again, remodifying that and amending that. Once again, these are very vague, they don't provide much detail, but it's basically kind of just a flashpoint in time as far as what's going on at Salem. Okay, that's it. Well, nope, we're not done yet, sorry. The Promise Program. They had it funded at a $10 million cap. Senate Bill 55 increases that cap and hopefully increases more eligibility for more students to be able to use the Promise Grant for college tuition, books, etc. So,
That's the fifth-year program,
yes.
and so they stay
That's
our
what it is,
student.
yeah.
Okay.
Student safety, Senate Bill 414. Another threat assessment thing. The threat assessment program would be sent to the Department of Education to include program and training requirements, and once again, pretty vague. I don't know what, they intend to think or do on that. Senate Bill 182, Educator Advancement Council. This is basically a bill assessing and looking at professional education or professional development for educators. And I believe, let me read it here real quick. Educator professional learning and educator supports, including access to mentoring, specialized professional learning, and opportunities for leadership development. So my interpretation of this bill is to try to increase, they don't mention if it's through funding or whatever, student or teacher professional development programs. Early indicator, Senate Bill 183. The bill recognizes high school graduation rates, and the purpose of the bill is to work with high schools more as far as getting the data, as far as student attendance, student progress, and everything else, to assist schools in recognizing and providing interventions for possible high school students that may be at risk. And that's kind of the intent of that bill. That's quick. Any questions? It'd be interesting to hear Salem, to say the least.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Financial report.
We met a couple of Monday ago, the 27th, right before the board meeting there. Really quick, collected $526,000 in revenue. We anticipated $537,000, so I'm a little bit below what I had anticipated. We had some federal funds that had come in prior years. I didn't have as many come in this month, so that's kind of the difference there. State school fund was about the same, and our taxes that we get from the county was about the same also. Tuition, we have a little bit more tuition this year than we anticipate from MODOC, so that factors in. If you guys look at the expenditures piece, we've got, we spent a little bit more than we should have. We were below in our payroll, but over in our accounts payable. So total, combination of both, $628,000 versus the $619,000 that we anticipated. We have pretty much shut these guys down as far as if you don't need it, don't buy it. If you need it, that's a different story. So when I was doing February, which I'm about halfway done with February's financials, they did about $65,000 in accounts payable. So there's this drastic decrease in spending. So that'll help immensely. We're just marching forward that way. On ending fund balance, and this is just the general fund. There we go. We're at $3,164,000. We anticipated to be at $3,298,000, so about $134,000 difference. So hopefully we can make a few tracks. I got it today, actually. They're starting to adjust our end of the year stuff. Of course, in June, we don't get any state school fund at all. May, they adjust for anything that we may owe, or vice versa. So right now, as it looks, we'll be fine. March, April payment will be normal. The May payment will be a little bit less, roughly about $233,000 rather than the $364,000. Reason being is, again, the ADM dropped, and so that's taken into account. So that's a little bit of that, and we talked about coming up here. So That's about all I have in that respect today.
Any question? Thank you.
Huh?
8.5. Mr. Seisel.
Okay. The OSAA, since last time we got together, have put out new proposals for reclassification for the year after next, the new 4-year block that will start then. They have 4 proposals come out, and they're on the website, and if you look at OSAA.org, under the governance, you can go to the classification, click that, and on the left-hand side are the committee's proposals, the right-hand are people who have their own proposals that have submitted. And the newest ones are 10 through 13, there's 4 new ones. 2 of them are 5-class systems, 2 of them are 6-class systems. All of them right now have us being a 2A school in the next 4-year block. Whether we make it down low enough student-wise to be a 2A school, we're gonna be right on the borderline. We're either gonna be a little bit over and be a small 3A, or a little bit under and be a large 2A. With all the proposals out right now, though, I think they'll give us an exemption to be a 2A school, just because what's left 3A wise is the 2 closest schools to us will be LaPine and Burns. They right now are 2 hours to 2.5 hours beyond anybody else in their league, and then you add us 2.5 to 3 hours beyond them. Nobody's excited about coming here, and so because of that, I suspect that we'll get an exemption and be allowed to be a 2A school. The OSAA had planned in their last, that committee had planned in their last meeting to decide whether it was gonna be 5 classifications or 6, but all the information they got was still very split amongst the membership on which they preferred. So, they put out those 4 new proposals, and some of those proposals have, within it are 2 proposals at the 5A or 6A level, because that's really where the ball is being fought right now. If you look at it, there's very little effect 3A, 4A down in the proposals they have, especially the 6 classification one. Personally, I prefer the 5 classification model. I think since they've gone to 6 classifications, it's watered down our state playoffs. If you happen to go through and look at first round football playoff games in the last 6-7 years, there's not very many games that are good games. Usually teams are traveling a long distance to get beat 66-6 and that kind of stuff. If they go with 6 classification systems, the leagues do not change in either one of those that they have. We'd be in the same spot either way, and there'd be 44 schools at the 2A level. And then the other ones are 5 classifications, so it puts more people in that classification. And you're looking at anywhere from 48 to 54 schools in the 2A classification now. I like the number 13 myself, because it allows Rogue River to stay in our league and be a 2A school with us, and it gives us 1 more school to play football against, and have 1 more home basketball game, 1 more home volleyball game within league. It adds 1 more school to our league. They did not come out with a new proposal for a football-only classification, a special district for football. That right now, the feeling is if they get this right, they don't feel the need to do that. If they don't get this right, then you may see another one of those proposals come out in the next couple of meetings. Their next meeting is Monday, and a week from today, and so there'll be new proposals out at the end of next week, or at least some decisions made on which way they're going. And then once they decide 5 or 6, you'll probably see a bunch of proposals made. So, any questions?
I think right now our league's what, 5 teams?
It depends on what sport.
Yeah. And I think in the new classifications, whether it's 5 or 6A, or 6 classes, it was 7 or 8, wasn't it?
Yes. I like the one that has the larger, because it adds a football school. The other ones, because Milo Adventist and Canyonville Christian Academy, neither one of them play football, so if they go with that, then we would have 4 football games that are league. Now we have 3. And but if they add Rogue River, then we get 5 league football games, which would still allow us to have our relationship with MODOC, which I think is important to our community and theirs, and get a couple other non-league games in across the state. So.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Old business,
I have none, Madam Chair.
new business, approved map field trip.
Welcome, Mr. Louie.
Teacher of the year.
Yeah.
Hey, until there's a new
People
one,
in the back out of
until there's a
here,
new
people in
one,
the front have to hear.
until there's a new one, you're defending champ, baby.
You like to do that?
Yeah?
Try for 2 in a row.
By the way, you are here, and I will say officially congratulations on being Teacher of the Year.
Well, thank you. I look really pretty in it. Okay, so you see that with inside there, I don't know if it's in a packet of stuff or not, but there is a deal there for the math field trip, and that was something Noni started approximately 4 years ago or so, 3 years ago, and she took her advanced 8th grade math kids and saw careers that usually we don't see a lot of here. Okay, there's some things that you run into all the time where they're like, wow, you do math, you become a math teacher. And that's kind of what sometimes their ideas are about it. And so she went and she was taking the kids to see actuaries, insurance agents, forensic investigators, accountant type people that did that stuff. She went and saw engineering programs at the University of Portland. We're going to add Oregon State this year. A guy down there who talked to Jesse got to know Noni over a summer program and said he would love to help us, and he'll bring any department that we want to show us. He'll bring any dean that he was an ex-dean from there, and he will show us anything that we want. And so we've got that going. We've got architects on there and all sorts of stuff. So the idea is just to have kids experience things that they usually wouldn't. Not all those kids are going to return back to Lakeview in one capacity or the other. I mean, we need to allow them that ability to go to a Portland, to go to a San Francisco, and see what job opportunities arrive there too. We would love for them to come back and be a part of our community, but at the same time, that's not always their goal either. And so giving an opportunity to see a high rise and see what some of these people that operate $1 million accounts and investments for these companies and CEOs and things like that is great for them to experience. I know they've had real positive feedback from the kids about what goes on in it and stuff. And so we want to keep that going. We had generous donations from our community after Noni's passing to go into that fund. That's where Dave was having donations made too. So I think approximately just over $3,000 is in there.
Yes.
And we are hoping to leave a remaining amount in there. So if you look, it's the kids, there's about $90 worth of stuff that the kids are going to pay for. Between the donations and the $25 fee I'm asking from the kids, that will cover a large part of the expenses. About it leaves, I think, about $1,000 probably in the account or so. I still have some numbers to crunch after I actually book hotel rooms, things like that. But I'm looking to leave about $1,000 to $1,500 in that account, about half of it, to allow for it to build up again. I know that the NHS is sponsoring a run at the end of the year for Noni, in which those proceeds are going to go into that fund also. So incredible support and stuff from the community for it. And so we're just hoping to keep it going.
How much was it per child?
About $90, and that includes some extra. So that was the $90, so it was $25 fee. And then there's certain meals, and I gave them a pretty hefty, like $40 in case we go and see a movie, or we do an activity at night where they would have to spend a little extra money. Some like lunches where we'd be in like downtown, and they can go to some food carts right there in the downtown area. One of the guys who's going to be our presenter said, why don't you take them to the food carts right there next to our offices, then bring, and so things like that. So that's kind of those loose expenditures where let them, and then there's a few meals like some dinners where we'll be in a group where I said we can use our donations to help pay for that in the hotel rooms and things like that. So between a $25 fee, so you get a little buy-in from the students on the trip, and then some loose expenditures for them, $70 worth of loose expenditures or so from them, or not $70, my goodness, my math is even bad. I apologize.
Not after the trip.
$55. Okay, so right there, so we figured that will cover everything, and then donations help cover hotel rooms and some of those meals.
So what was the total? $25 fee, and then how much more do they have to bring?
$65 to bring it up to about $90 total cost per student. And the year before was about $170 per student. So we've cut it about in half from what it would have been.
And there's 17 going?
Approximately right now, I have a number at we just got a new student in and she said yes to it. We're looking at more like 19 students. 19 students, Mr. Lisney said he'd go, I said I would go. And then we are currently recruiting a female chaperone, at least one female chaperone to also assist with the group, so.
Well, when you first said that the kids weren't coming home, I thought you were talking about them not coming home from here.
Not a
No, I
successful
just
trip.
meant that not all of them will come back from. Sad note.
I said, well, no, they're not graduating.
I mean, so we're down a few and we come back. Maybe we'll bring back better numbers or something, you know? Trade and swap a little bit.
Just gonna stay up there and they'll offer the job.
A little afraid to prove that.
That sounds
quickly.
terrible, I know.
Right now.
Oh,
And
this
then
guy's
do you
teacher
have,
of the year.
do you have any of the specifics where you're going,
Most of the places all occur right in the downtown area, within a few blocks of each other and stuff.
there was an insurance, cause Noni did tell us like down to the half hour.
Yes, I
So
will
we
have,
got
I
to-
will have, this is just completely off the cuff, cause I have not been able to schedule with them the exact, like this guy will say, I'm better in the morning or I'm better in the afternoon. I've gotten very general statements of commitment from them saying, we would love to do it for you. And so I need to get them an idea and say, does this time work for you? And I have not had a chance to get
Well,
them
we don't
those.
need that to approve it,
Right.
it's just we got to live a little vicariously.
Yes, no, I will
It was
definitely
Very exciting,
be able to send you guys by the April meeting a full itinerary that would give, yes,
okay.
where we plan on the kids being at exactly what times, for the most part.
She was pretty,
I know, I
very
saw her itinerary there and I was like, okay, I just gotta like
crammed a
fill in the
lot
blanks
in.
now.
I think she left at like 4 or something. She was in
Yes,
up
yeah,
by-
especially if we plan on hitting Oregon State, the goal was to hit Oregon State and the University of Portland on those first days, I think, and then the next day, visit all the businesses on Friday.
So what's the school paying for?
The school would cover, well, the transportation comes out of,
Transportation's covered.
transportation's covered. The only thing would be subs for myself and Mr. Lisney.
It just seems like we have a lot of field trips that are science-based, but we don't have many field trips that are math-based.
They don't happen very often, they're few and far
This has
between
been
to
a very
get.
good one over the years, and I guess I'm looking across the tables here, if maybe we should be providing a little bit more to this.
We're pretty
Nice.
fortunate on some of
Close to
these
that.
field trips this year that we, at the ESD, got the STEM grant, you know, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, so we used quite a bit of $50,000, I think, right? On that STEM grant?
Oh, I can't give you the number.
Some of that, or a lot of that this year that we brought to use for field trips. It's come out STEM grant.
In the prior year, we've done a lot except for what the kids' a little bit of their outside
Right.
expenses were. We covered everything on that, as far as the subs are covered, the transportation's covered through our transportation grant, cause it's an educational, situation. So that piece of it is probably pretty huge for them, given that the 6th grade field trip pays for their own busing. They technically rent a bus for them, so honestly, we're probably doing more for the math piece than the 6th grade field trip at this point. So we do kick in quite a bit here. The donation, though, I believe that was requested by Mr. Vandenberg, correct?
Yes, that was a request by him that it was able to, that there was a fund be opened up in her name, yes, to provide for that field trip, so. And once again, the goal is to retain about half of that at least, so and if we can replenish it with things like the NHS doing that run at the end of the year, more like a walk for some of us. You can just donate also, yes.
Well, thank you very much for taking up, this is, cause it is a very good,
Yeah, and that trying to work and that's been, yeah, trying to work off of all of Noni's stuff and once again, and Evan Reese has helped me so I can get emails and be able to see contacts and things. And so far, every single person I've contacted with the news has been very generous in saying we absolutely would love to have them back, so. It was very good, and whatever it was, she left a good taste in their mouth when
yeah.
they left, and our kids did, obviously.
Okay, Any other questions for me?
Just bring them back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All of
Oh.
Oh, does it?
Do you have like an approximate number?
Yes,
15's a pretty round number.
You need to approve this
Right.
trip,
So do I have a motion? If we have no more questions.
I move to approve the Lake High School math trip scheduled for May 18th and 19th, 2017.
Second.
Was that the, I thought we were gone 3 days.
Yeah, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Now we're just, in the motion,
Oh, it's
just
the nights.
school days.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Yep.
All right. Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you again, Mr. Louie.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure.
Thank you so much for doing that, Mark.
Very worthwhile.
Very appreciated.
Yep. No, anything to help out with something like that, so.
10.2, OSCA negotiations open.
OSCA Chapter 58 has submitted a letter to myself and the board and the business manager. So the OSCA would like to open the contract for wages and insurance for 2017-18. We'd like to set up dates and negotiate with you. You can have your representative contact Tony Shannon, OSCA president. There's the email and there's the phone. And so it takes a motion to go ahead and open those negotiations, and then 10.3, we establish the team.
But doesn't that start the time,
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it does.
which I know this is normal time except for our budget
The budget
hearings, so.
situation.
Well, that's why they get invited to my finance meetings. So they are very well aware. Ruth Ann and I have had several conversations on certified end also. Right now, what we're thinking is we have to go forward. I mean, we can't sit and wait till July 3rd. We'll be behind, and we won't meet our deadlines. So it may be that we negotiate for X, and then given that we stay at 7.8, then we're done. If we come in at 8.0, we turn around and maybe July or August, we could open that back up and say, okay, we got X amount of dollars extra, the caveats in there, which we've discussed, and Tony and I have discussed that also, which would benefit all the staff at the end of the day. But really and truly, we need to have some sort of go forward.
And like I said, if the budget picture should change, there is that ability to come back and renegotiate that. So.
I move to open negotiations with OSEA for discussion related to the contract regarding wage and insurance for 2017-18.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Your
10.3.
name's on the next one. You can have it.
You're done now?
Since I stole the last one from you, so.
So we do need to establish a team. Generally, it's comprised of Mr. Cahill and myself. Last year, we used 2 board members also within that. Basically, I'd like to open that up.
Who did it last year?
Dustin?
Stephanie and Dustin did it last year. So.
Seems like you guys are out.
I'll do it again.
That would be great.
Yeah.
I would definitely. I can do it.
It's awesome.
Uh,
You wanna do it?
Yeah, I haven't done it yet.
okay.
Well, then can I make the motion?
You probably, no, parliamentary wise, you better have somebody else make the motion. Sorry.
We can't.
I move to approve the established board negotiation team, I can't get that word out. Negotiations with OSEA and members, superintendent, OS.
Do we have to do OEA too, or we didn't open it?
If they don't.
I don't have a letter from Miss Mice.
So it's just OSCA.
It's only OSEA.
The board negotiations team will include,
Oh, sorry. You were really on a roll, sorry. I would like the same team members to be already established for OEA also. So I apologize, sorry. I'll try to
That's gonna be separate. That's a
Oh, I
separate-
see, so
that's a
we
separate
can't
one.
say,
No.
oh,
So we
Yeah,
can-
yeah,
so
yeah,
we
yeah.
can keep that.
Hurry.
And yet,
Good luck, Tim. Oh,
so the board negotiation team will include Dustin Gustavidson and Andy Bunton, member superintendent and business manager.
Can you repeat that?
No.
have a second?
I don't know if I should say.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thanks, thank you. Consent agenda.
There for your approval.
I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Announcements.
Yes, week from tonight is our, you're gonna finish up your executive session on me. We're going into work session at 6 o'clock. I juggled some of the discussion items around, based on what I would think probably be a lengthy amount of conversation, so. On the agenda next week, I have my final SAC document done. It's gonna go to the committee for kind of a final review this week and approval, and then we'll have the final SAC goals, mission statement, vision statement, motto, the whole works for that meeting next week. PE, I'll save the talk for there. There's a little bit of good news as far as the PE minutes thing goes. I will say this, the news is good and they are giving a little bit of latitude to it, based on listening to all of us. So, but I'll save that for next week. KCC, I will give you some updates as far as where we're going with KCC, what's going on with our relationship with them in the building up there, and just to give you an update on that. We'll talk reader board. I haven't got up and visited folks at the town yet on the reader board, but I'll intend to have a full report for you on that as well. The student safety piece is talking about some of these hostile intruder things that we've discussed before. I'm bringing that back as far as an update on that. Finally, Mrs. Chavez wants to come in and talk to you about everything related to graduation planning, diplomas, just the whole range of particulars related to graduation. So here it is. It's March already. We'll be here before you know it. And that's it on my end, folks.
So, and that kind of takes care of next board meeting agenda item.
Dennis from Manor speaking, yes.
And so,
I move that we open the meeting.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned.
Thank you.
Did you guys